And a pleasant good afternoon from David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium in Lawrence. The Kansas State Wildcats streak is now at 17 in the Sunflower Showdown. An unfathomable number, really. It's the longest winning streak for one Division I FBS program over a conference rival that is active in America. 17 in a row for K-State over KU, and in blowout fashion on a rainy afternoon in Lawrence. 42-17 is the final score as K-State defeats KU in this year's Dillon's Sunflower Showdown. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is right here with me, and this is an instant reaction video on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to that YouTube channel to catch all of our instant reaction videos. You can check us out on Facebook. Some of you are watching us on Facebook right now, WIBW News. Make sure you follow that site as well. Glad to be with you on this Saturday afternoon, and we are going to start, Spencer, with your perspective. You just returned from the post-game comments from Chris Klieman. You got a chance to hear from the winning head coach, and that is a program that obviously did not have the start to this 2025 season they were looking for, 1-3 to start the campaign, but they have resurrected their season since. They have gone 3-1 since that 1-3 start. They win this game as underdogs here in Lawrence. What did you get from Chris Klieman's post-game presser?
A lot of it was he talked about the Kansas kids and how much it meant to them for this win this now late afternoon here at Lawrence. And he also talked about how it meant so much to him, how much this win means to him and to the soon-to-be retiring band director at Kansas State. I'm forgetting his name again. Excuse me for that. But I didn't know if you had the name.
Frank Trace,
yeah, Frank Trace, and how he went up to him after the game, and they were both crying, and also how much respect he has for Lance and the rebuilding of this program, because, as Klieman said, he was here for a season when he was getting his coaching career started, and he has so much respect for just this organization and how they're building it and how much Lance has helped them build it. And I mean, he was talking about how the new stadium and how he's excited to come back here in a couple of years when the visiting side is refinished, and it seemed like a very happy Coach Klieman after the game, and he was happy for his kids and happy for this program after the start they had of the season. And continue streak means more, he said, to the players than obviously to him.
42-17 the final, and a lot of the things we talked about throughout the week, Spencer, did end up being, pivotal parts of this game. We'll start with, we talked about special teams. So much a part of the narrative the last 2 years as these games have been really, really close, and it's been a critical special teams miscue by Kansas, or a big special teams play by Kansas State, that has helped tip the scales in the Wildcats' favor. And it didn't take but 10 seconds for us to get our first impactful special teams play of the game as Bryce Nornberg fumbled the opening kickoff. KU's been better on special teams than K-State has all year long. KU recovered that fumble. They were able to punch it in, take a 7-0 lead. But K-State responded immediately with a touchdown drive of their own, and then they benefited from the what is becoming the annual KU special teams mishap, Finn Lappin mishandling that low snap, Ralph Ortiz with a 20-yard scoop and score, and it felt like that was the point in the game where you started to get that feeling in the stadium, and you started to kind of sense it on the Jayhawks sideline, that feeling of, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah, and Coach Leipold specifically talked about that. He said they had dialed up a block on that, and he had told the refs, hey, we're going to go for this one. And he thought that wouldn't have been a clean punt, even if it had gotten to him cleanly. So they were expecting a block on that one, a potential touchdown anyway, and it happened in a different way than they had expected.
Yeah, they got everybody into the backfield, or Ralph Ortiz makes the big scoop and score, and K-State ends up taking a 21-7 lead because they scored on a quick drive late in the first quarter. So they led by 2 scores. KU had that great 8.5-minute scoring drive to end the first half, and I thought maybe that could have been a momentum shifter as it got it within 1 score, and KU was getting the ball coming out of the locker room. I thought maybe that had stabilized, steadied the ship a little bit on that Jayhawk sideline. But a defensive play the third turnover at the time forced in the game. Daniel Cobbs with the interception of Jalon Daniels sets up the short field. KU able to score, retake a 2-score lead. And then after Kansas gets it back within 11, the bomb from Avery Johnson to Jayce Brown. This was a key to the game that we had identified on Friday's 580 Sports Talk. The big play wide receivers on both sides. Jayce Brown for K-State, Emmanuel Henderson for KU. Henderson was really a non-factor in this game. There were some opportunities for him to make plays. Jalon Daniels couldn't connect with him down the field at all in this game. Meanwhile, Jayce Brown, 4 catches, 160 yards, and that 78-yard touchdown that really felt like the knockout blow. That was a deciding factor in the game. K-State was able to make the explosive offensive play. KU, on the flip side, they came in averaging over 5 20-plus yard plays per game. It's 0 plays of 20-plus yards in this contest, and that is a huge testament to a K-State defense that had really struggled with that all season long.
Yeah, they had really struggled all season long, but this defense today, when you go back and look, I mean, Des Purnell is having a great, probably one of the best couple weeks span of his career that he's had at Kansas State. He came in with a sack, a tackle and a half total for a loss, and 9 total tackles in the contest. And he came up big a couple times in coverage as well.
And it's so impressive for Des to walk the walk after he had talked the talk earlier in the week, right? He was the one who came out and said, I think we have better talent, and I think we are going to dominate. Those were Des Purnell's words, and that raised some eyebrows. Typically, the team going in with the losing record doesn't get to say that in a game, but Des Purnell said it, and then he backed it up. He nearly had an interception in the first half. Later, I think on the drive after that, his deflection ended up ending a drive 3-and-out. Then on the next drive, he had the strip sack on 4th down that halted a KU drive. They might have had a scoring opportunity. They might have tried a field goal in better weather conditions there. They went for it. It was 4th and 3, I think at the 34-yard line, and Purnell had the strip sack that Malcolm Alcorn-Crowder recovered. The K-State defense has really improved by leaps and bounds. They're keeping the play in front of them. Their coverage down the field was very good, and they have their level of play has really increased. I wanted to talk about the quarterback play. It's a tale of 2 box score lines in this one. As Jalon Daniels had a rough game, 17 of 35 for just 129 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, he did rush for a touchdown, had 44 yards, net yards. He lost 36 yards on sacks. So really, he was closer to 80 plus yards. I've lost 43 yards on those sacks. So he had a bigger day than that final line suggests. And there were some plays he made that were downright heroic. On that field goal drive, there were a couple, or that touchdown drive rather, to end the first half. He had 2 big scrambles on 3rd downs to keep drives alive. He was taking some big hits and kept on ticking. I was impressed with Daniels' toughness, his desire, his ability to extend plays, but he just could not connect down the field on the throws. There were some that were there and he just missed. And that is something you can't have in a game like this. You've got to be sharp. You've got to be able to hit on those plays when they present themselves. And Jalon was never able to do that. On the flip side, Avery Johnson only threw the ball 17 times, completed 11 of them for 231 yards. And it was him and Jayce Brown. Every time he needed to play, Jayce Brown was on the other end of it. I mentioned those 160 receiving yards. Just a super impressive game for Jayce Brown. But Avery was able to get the ball to his top target and make big plays in a way that Kansas wasn't. And that was a huge deciding factor in this game.
Yeah, it really was. And back to KU for a second, it seemed like Daniel Highstraw is very healthy in this one. He averaged 3.5 a pop, caught some passes, including had 21 yards after the catch, but he can't do it all, right? You've got to have the combination of things working, and that just combination wasn't working today for KU, but it did work for K-State because it was a good day overall for Joe Jackson on the ground with 69 net yards, averaging 3.4 a pop to go along with running Avery a little bit. He had 6 rushes, net yarding 17 with those 2 scores on the ground on top of what he did in the air. And I think when you combine those 2 things, it was obviously K-State coming in on top with the 2 rushing touchdowns from Avery Johnson, only missing 6 throws, but finding Jayce Brown deep a few times, including one for a 76-yard touchdown pass or 78-yard touchdown pass that basically put the nail in the coffin.
And what I thought was really telling, both teams seemed willing to play man coverage down the field and kind of dare the other quarterback, hey, make a play against the blitz. Hey, make a play, find your receiver down the field. We dare you to make a play. And the Kansas passing offense could not make that play in the way that the Kansas State passing offense was able to make that play. That was certainly another decisive factor in this game. The final score being what it was. The Vegas spread was obviously KU minus 3.5. And I want everybody pointing out in the YouTube comments on 580 Sports Talk, pointing out that I picked KU to win this game. I want you all to know also, be fair to me, that I picked K-State to cover, and they did. So I was right. You want to pick on somebody, pick on the guy over here that picked KU to win and cover, okay? You want to pick on somebody today, you pick on my guy Spence. He's right here. He can hear you too. Anyway, just want to point that out. Anyhow, I think we expected a closer football game, and I think going into halftime, we kind of thought we were going to get that. But, what flips games? What turns games from close games into blowouts? Well, explosive plays, and those all belong to K-State in this game, and turnovers. And K-State was able to force 4 of them. They turned them into 13 or 14 points, and that 14-point margin, a 25-point game, that's how you turn what was I think shaping into being a tight game into what ended up being a blowout, and fans streaming for the exits with about 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much was the game, and I think that I don't want to say we could have seen this coming, but it seemed like K-State was getting things rolling again, and KU unfortunately was going the other way. And if you're K-State, you got to be happy about this one. And now you got a huge one coming up next week against Texas Tech at home.
So, yeah, it's interesting. The trajectory of both programs certainly feels like K-State is on the way up. 3 wins in their last 4, and KU seems to be dropping in the other direction. But KU has a rebound opportunity. They're right back here at the booth next week against a terrible Oklahoma State team. They've got a chance to get right next week and rebuild some of that confidence for the final quarter or final third of their season. Meanwhile, K-State gets the big boost going into a home game against Texas Tech. We'll get a look at Tech again tonight. They're playing tonight, and they'll be coming off of whatever result they get tonight. But will they have Baron Morton healthy? That'll be a big question going into next week's game. But can K-State get back into the Big 12 championship game race? I think we had all but written them off. But if they can win next week against Texas Tech, and that's still going to be a tall order, regardless of who's a quarterback. Texas Tech is so good in the trenches. K-State hasn't seen a trench unit like that all season. It's going to be a hard game, but K-State will be going in with a ton of belief, and they are a completely different football team right now than they were a month ago. I think you can, obviously, it's part of the season. The games all happen in the same season, but you can take those results against Army. You could take that Arizona game. You can toss them out the window. This is a different Kansas State team, and they proved it for 60 minutes of football here. Meanwhile, Kansas, 3 losses in the Big 12. They're probably out of the Big 12 championship game race, but they're not out of this season. They still have an opportunity at bowl eligibility and a winning year. And a good opportunity. It's a good time to have Oklahoma State home on the schedule this coming week. We'll have more reaction to this game on Monday's 580 Sports Talk, which you can catch on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, and these same video channels, WIBW News on Facebook and 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like on Facebook. Give us a follow, subscription on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And we'll be back on Monday from 3 until 6 with more on this game, preview of Monday Night Football, Chiefs Commanders, and a look at the rest of the football weekend. For Spencer Dupuis, I'm Dan Lucero saying good night from Lawrence, and thanks for hanging out with us on this Sunflower Showdown Instant Reaction. The streak is 17. Depending on when they play this game next year, there might be people old enough to vote who weren't alive the last time KU beat K-State. That's it for this Sunflower Showdown Instant Reaction. Have a great night, everybody.